Welcome to our podcast, Može Kafa. We are Ivana
and Maki,
your host. In this podcast, we discuss interesting details about Serbian language and culture from a learner's and teacher's perspective.
We offer new and fun resources for learners of Serbian. To follow each episode with annotated script, vocabulary, and quizzes, join us also at Može Kafa Podcast on Instagram. So if you're ready, grab a cup of coffee and enjoy the podcast. All right, welcome everybody.
Dobrodošli svima.
Maki ovde.
Ovde Ivana.
Okay, ovde is here, by the way.
Exactly.
I've been using this a lot. So today we are talking about something really important and something really nice about Serbian culture, sports.
Some people are very passionate about it. You are very passionate, right?
I am.
Good. I'm too. I'm passionate actually about not sports that much, but just like staying healthy.
Yeah, actually, in my case, it's similar. I don't follow like all the details about one specific sport, but in Serbia, you are very successful as a nation in many sports. I'm very amazed by that.
Yes, I just want to say that all of the information, like I'm not an expert on sports in Serbia, so I don't know a lot of details. You probably, some of you guys probably know more, but we extracted the most important information that we think we can cover in these like 20, 25 minutes. So probably we're going to miss out on some information, but you're going to learn a lot of things.
And we will share some links for them to learn more about those sports and sports people.
Exactly. I want to ask you.
Sure.
What sports have you done and what are you doing?
So, I mean, in primary school, I tried almost everything, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah. But in high school and at university, I was more into ping pong, chess.
Interesting.
Volleyball. Yes.
Wow, okay.
And running. So, as you know, I'm a marathon runner. I'm really into running. But it's not like a sport to me. It's more like a lifestyle.
Yeah. It's a thing you do every day. It's like a habit in a way. Yeah.
One of the most interesting things that I would never ever have thought before that I started rugby a few years ago. And I played rugby for 2 years in Pristina. So I learned a lot about this sport. Rugby sevens and rugby 15s. We were playing rugby sevens and it's very fun.
That's really fascinating to me. I've never heard rugby is not as popular in Serbia. I think it's probably becoming now, but I don't think we've done much on that.
Actually, in the recent years you did, because I follow the Serbian teams, women and men. We have 2 teams. There is actually a rugby team in Kruševac, and I joined their training a few times. But they are kids, like 12 to 16-year-old kids, and I was like, oh, I am here, like a lady out. So.
Yeah. I have no idea anything about rugby. I don't know the rules or anything like that. I find it interesting that you experienced more in Serbia than I have.
Only in some things, I guess. Okay, how about you?
For me, I wasn't like that exciting. I did a bit of ballet. I think I did it for maybe 1 year, and then 1 year of swimming before going to school. My parents were they really wanted me to learn how to swim. And that was just like a good occasion for me to, enroll me in a swimming class. And so I did that for 1 year. I'm tiny and like thin and everything. So I wasn't really progressing over there that much, but I became really confident about swimming. Like I'm really my endurance is there, and I learned how to jump properly in the water, and it was something that my dad was very passionate about. Wow, nice. But I did that just for 1 year, so nothing special, and but I feel like that was really essential for my just development. But then I did, I think, around 7-8 years of fencing.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that was totally something. Everyone was like, oh my God, fencing. They always think of the Three Musketeers. So,
That's the only place that I can picture too.
Yeah. And after that, I just did exercise at home. I would bike sometimes, and I didn't go running until I went to Austria, and I realized that it was that was just the easiest thing to do. Just put on some clothes and go out and run, and it's for free. Yeah.
By the way, as you talked about swimming, here in many towns you can find Olympic pools. That's really cool. Olympic
I didn't
pools.
know that.
Even in Kruševac, the public pool is Olympic pool. Like, it's very deep and big. And I'm like, what? Indoor pool and outdoor pool, they're amazing. I mean, because of COVID, we couldn't make use of it, but still, I tried it once and it was really, really nice.
Now I don't know what the size is, but yeah, swimming pool in Zrenjanin is also like a
2
very
meter deep, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is. That's just because, you have, it's just like for me, it's normal. I don't know.
It is not normal in Turkey. I mean, you barely can find such things, such pools.
Okay. So we love swimming, maybe.
Okay.
What do we love? What have you learned? What is popular in Serbia?
I mean, even before coming here, I knew that you guys are like obsessed with football, as we are as Turkish people. But basketball is, I guess, number 2 here. Even here, in every neighborhood, you can find free, nice, like well-equipped hoop basketball area, pitch, whatever you call it. I'm amazed by that. And tennis, everybody knows your tennis players. Recently, Djokovic. Water polo.
You're spot on. Yes,
I know water polo a lot because in Turkey we make jokes of our own national water polo team showing the results against Serbian team, because it's like 61-0, and the and the title is "What happened? Did you die?"
He just stopped and drowned. Yeah, so, I didn't know that.
You're really good at this, and we knew it, and we learned it in a very sad event, I guess. Competition.
Okay, you'll learn. You'll get there.
These are the most common ones. I know volleyball is also very common, especially women's team is really good.
So I definitely agree with everything you said. I think I have a feeling like football is still one of the most beloved sports in Serbia. We are not as successful in football compared to basketball. But it's just, I feel like it's just the top, like it's the sports,
Yeah.
And actually the sport. And then I think we are more successful at baseball, really also successful at water polo. And only in the recent, I would say like 5 to 10 years, probably because of Djokovic, tennis. Before that, I don't really remember many of our players. Like it wasn't like a sport that you would say, I think of Serbia when I think of that sport. It was just like, it's also a quite expensive sport.
Yeah.
Like basketball and football, as you said, there's always like a free area to do that. They're everywhere, like, so they're just free for you everywhere. But not tennis. Tennis, you need to invest a bit.
Yeah, rackets, and you need to rent that place.
Yeah. Volleyball, I didn't know much about volleyball, but yes, we are also quite successful over there. And the reason why I know that it is an important sport for Serbia is because I had friends in my high school where they would actually be paid for playing volleyball, and they weren't even like doing it on a national level. So you can see if there's so much investment.
That's nice.
They must be doing something really well. So yeah, they were basically like, I was like, oh, she's rich, she has so much money, like, because she was earning money as a high school student. Come on, like, I didn't even earn anything.
Inspiring.
Yeah. And then I also want to mention handball. Not as successful there, but still like handball and some other sports, like, we were quite good also at shooting sports. We also had some like at the Olympics.
There's the shooting club in Kruševac too. I saw that. Yeah.
Athletics as well. We'll talk about that too. A bit of swimming, and there's rowing, and there's like, we do everything basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are certain sports, as you said, that we were a bit more successful at.
And I want to warn here our followers that we are telling them in English right now, but you will be surprised that Serbians have special names for these sports, except football and tennis. I mean, in many languages that I know, like basketball is basketball, volleyball is volleyball, like swimming is more or less. Okay, that might be different.
Yeah.
But you guys created your own, like you use your own words. That's nice. But for the learners, like, why do we call basketball that?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's cover them. You said football, right?
Yes.
Which is
football.
Football.
Yes, with
exactly.
D, football. Yes.
Exactly. And if you want to say a football player who is a a guy, then it will be fotballer.
Mm-hmm.
And for girl, fotballerka.
Fotballerka. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. And you also wanted to mention the two rivals, right?
Yes. Oh, that's so funny to me because actually my friends, when they visited us here, they were like, what are these like words on the walls everywhere? And they cross those words all the time. And I'm like, I had no idea. And then I asked my local friends and they're like, oh, that's the Red Star's name. Like they just use the capitals, I guess, the first letters. And then the other team's followers just cross that.
Yeah, exactly. It's and how did they call it? It's not an endless derby, but like just it's gonna last forever. It's like
rivalry.
This rivalry. Yeah, exactly. And so there are two teams. Actually, we have various teams like in Serbia, like football teams, but the most successful ones are Partizan and Crvena Zvezda.
Yes.
Crvena Zvezda is Red Star, and Partizan, you can kind of guess. But the people, like the how do you call people that cheer? The
hooligans, I want to say, but they are not hooligans.
I just forgot. It's not the supporters. It's like oh my god. But anyway, anyone who's supporting Partizan, they're called grobari.
Grobari.
Yes. People who are supporting Crvena Zvezda, they're called delije.
Okay.
So
that sounds like crazy to me, delije.
Yeah? I don't know what it means.
Delije is crazy in Turkish, that's why.
Maybe they are crazy. Probably they are. So whenever you see some like craziness happening, like some, issues during a game, it's probably Partizan and Crvena Zvezda. That's what happened. It's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and one question there. The word is like that. Maybe you'll see it on my screen, but Yes. This is for
Yes, Crvena Zvezda. Yeah, but what is KŠ?
So that stands for Kruševac Crvena Zvezda.
I was thinking like klub, what? Okay, Kruševac Crvena Zvezda. Okay, there you go.
That's what I see here, all the walls.
Yeah, you'll see it everywhere. You see it even in my hometown. It's everywhere. As I told you, that's one of just like the most popular things ever. Okay. Then we have basketball that you were surprised about.
Yes,
which is called
košarka.
Košarka. And the reason why it's košarka is because koš is a basket. So that's why it's called. And the basketball player will be košarkaš. And the girl is košarkašica.
Košarkašica.
Yes, I had to Google these because I was like, I completely forgot. I haven't been using these words for such a long time. I'm also not into sports that much. So I was like, oh my God, how do you say female? So yeah, I had to check them.
All right.
Yeah. Then we come to tennis.
Which is tennis. Yes, tennis. Finally.
Yeah, so it's like a long tennis. And we have, Novak Đoković as a player is teniser. And let's say Ana Ivanović as a female is a teniserka.
Okay, good. And the third most common sport, I think most successful sport, water polo, is also similar to the English version. That's nice.
Yeah, it is.
How do you say it?
Waterpolo.
Waterpolo, okay.
Exactly. And then we have a guy, waterpolista, girl, waterpoliskinja.
All right, very nice.
Waterpoliskinja. Yeah.
When I was with friends here, they mentioned this, like they are very proud of their water polo team, and they said like our team is the second most successful national team after Hungary in the history of sport. Like, of course, they need to brag about it because they.
Yeah, you need to just do it. No one will. You have to do it. And then we have volleyball, which is odbojka, and then the player is odbojkaš, and then the woman is odbojkašica.
Okay, similar to basketball. Košarkaš, odbojkaš, košarkašica, odbojkašica. Okay.
Sorry about all the consonants.
Tongue twister to me, but I will learn.
And then handball is rukomet. And the reason why it's rukomet because hand is ruka.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And met is maybe can be derived from meta, which is target. So like targeting with your hand. You know what I mean? Probably. I don't know. And the player is rukometaš, and for a girl is rukometašica. I also want to just mention that swimming is plivanje, rowing is veslanje, athletics is atletika. There you go. That's
similar too. But atletica for men or unisex?
Unisex. I mean, atletica as a sport. Atletica. Okay. Atletičarka, I'm guessing. And shooting sports is streljaštvo. And then we have boxing, box, and fencing. I have to mention fencing because of me, which is mačevanje. And mač is a sword. That's why.
By the way, rugby is rugby. So that doesn't change it. You just write it with RAGBI, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Rugby. And then we have some phrases, right?
Yes, I need to say, I played this sport or I played that. So how do we say that?
So you say igram. Because I play, it also actually means to dance in a way. You can say igram, yeah. Igram futbal, for example. Or I like to play football is volim da igram futbal. So volim da. I love to.
Yes.
That is to. And then I follow basketball is pratim košarku.
Pratim. Okay.
Pratim. And I watch, or like I love to follow basketball would be volim da pratim košarku.
Volim da pratim košarku.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know how to say my favorite team?
Favorite I learned, but it's really hard to say, so I avoid saying it. Omiljeni.
Okay. Yes.
But it can be Omiljena, right?
Yes.
That's why.
So, yeah, the team is masculine, so that would be moj omiljeni team je Partizan, for example.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, not mine, my dad's, but
okay.
I'm just saying as an example. I don't care. And then you can say I support or like rooting for navijam.
Navijam za.
Navijam za. Navijam za Crvenu Zvezdu, navijam za Partizan.
Okay, very good.
And here we use accusative, by the way. Oh yeah, champion is kind of funny when I translated it. It's champion. Or championi for like plural, like for the champions of basketball, like team, like players, you know, which is like I think of like mushrooms now.
Yes, me too.
Champignon, exactly. You know, like. But it's kind of funny now that I have a different association. But yeah, it's champion.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. By the way, my favorite sport, then I would say moj omiljeni sport again, because sport is
sport.
Okay, good.
Moj omiljeni sport. Yeah.
All right.
Team is team.
With I. T-I-M.
Yeah, with I.
Okay.
Yeah, everything we write is like 1-to-1, so one sound, one letter. And to win is pobediti. And to lose is izgubiti.
Izgubiti.
So,
okay.
Izgubiti.
Izgubiti.
Yeah. So our T's are very like frontal.
Yeah.
Like, near the dent. Yeah, izgubiti. Oh yeah, and a game would be, for example, utakmica.
Utakmica.
Then we have another topic, which is some of our famous Serbian athletes, or like...
Let's start with tennis, yes.
Yeah, because everyone knows about that.
We have the champion.
Good, champion.
Let me say champion tenniser.
But just when you say champion, it's at P, champion.
Champion tenniser.
Champion, yeah. Good.
Okay. Naš šampion teniser je Novak Đoković.
Novak, exactly. I wrote down, I had to Google because he had so many like successes, like 18-time Grand Slam champion.
Yeah.
Wow.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. When is he going to stop? I also wrote down Monica Salish because before him, actually, that was one of our most... actually the most famous tennis player. Monica Salish is actually, I think she's like Hungarian who lived in Serbia because Salish is not a Serbian last name. But yeah, because she was from Serbia, she represented Serbia. And then we have, of course, Ana Ivanović, Jelena Janković, I wrote down also Janko Tipsarević, Viktor Trojicki. But yeah, I think it's mostly like Novak, Ana, and Jelena that are kind of in the same boat in a sense.
Tenniser and tenniserka.
Yes.
Like this is like more gender-based, like gender perspective, let's say, equal sports.
We always, I mean, I think for almost everything we have, like for female and male, it's just.
But when it comes to success, like both genders are equally successful in this sport in Serbia, I want to say.
Yeah. We are definitely not shy at doing sports. Okay, then football. I wrote down some names, and I mean, I had to Google them because I am so ignorant about football. And I also want to mention that there is a movie and the sequel called Montevideo Boctevideo.
Yes, I watched that.
You did?
Yes. It was
and
fun.
It's about our kind of like biggest success when we went to Argentina to compete. So it's a nice, I think it's a really nice, it's kind of also like a friendship / love story. I don't know how to explain it. It's everything. It's kind of like mellow.
I was like afraid a little bit in the beginning because it was going to be about football all the time, but no, it's not. And you can find it on YouTube, by the way.
Yes. I want to mention some names. Dragan Stojković, Siniša Mihajlović, Miroslav Đukić, Savo Milošević, Dejan Stanković, Nemanja Vidić. These are some of the most important names in football. There are many more. So, it's a bit difficult with these like team sports because when you have like tennis, there's like one person, right? But when you have a team, it's not one person is not responsible for winning, right? It's various people. So how do you credit everyone? But yeah.
Let's come to water polo then. Who is famous in the sport?
I wrote down Vanja Udovičić. He's a former professional water polo player. He's also the Minister of Youth and Sports.
I thought Vanja would be a female name.
Yeah, that's true. Vanja is a unisex name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very unisex. It can be, like one of the rare ones where I would say like you don't know if that's a girl or boy. Yeah. And he's in the government of Serbia from September the 2nd, 2013. So I find it interesting how they get involved as well. Like, you can only do sports as much. So you either continue with something else, you're a coach, or you get into like the state at the state level, so they're still very much, and him and also some other players very much into it. Yeah. And then we have basketball.
Those names are going to be from NBA, I guess. Like
yes.
Igor Kokoškov. This is one of the names that I heard from my friends. They were talking about him. And Željko Obradović, who won a record 9 EuroLeague titles as a coach. So he's one of the best coaches in the world.
And I want to mention also the players. I think as I was growing up, he was very famous. He's still very famous. Vlade Divac. And he got drafted into the NBA. And he was just like, he was very successful. He still is very successful. And also some other names like Radivoj Korać, Dejan Bodiroga, Dragan Kićanović. But yeah, so that was my time when I remember some of them,
By the way, when I Googled like basketball players from Serbia, like playing at NBA, there are many of them.
Yes.
Many.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh my God, Serbians are so tall. I don't have that feeling because probably I didn't grow up in a surrounding where we had so many tall people. But when you look at the facts, like at basketball and actually my ex-boyfriend was quite tall. And then I saw him on the field with other basketball players and I was like, he's tiny. He's tiny. Like there's so many tall people over here. I didn't know that. Definitely. So there you go. Yeah, and then we have some volleyball players, very famous ones, brothers Vladimir and Nikola Grbić.
Oh.
And Tijana Bošković for like the women's side. Yeah, and then you wrote down distance runners, which I didn't know this.
Yes. I was like, who are the famous people in running? Because I do that. I'm interested in runners as well, like in their stories. So Olivera Jevtic, she still holds Serbian marathon record of 2 hours, 25 minutes, 23 seconds. That's very fast. I mean, you have no idea.
I have no idea. For me, it's just numbers. Nice.
I mean, my first marathon, record was like 4 hours, 25 minutes. So.
Oh. Okay, so What is a marathon? Is how many kilometers?
42.2.
42.2. Okay.
So she ran quite fast.
Wow. I think I like the most that I've done was like 10 kilometers. I don't think I've done more than that. And
if
even that was
10,
like, oh
you can do even more. Don't worry. First
Yeah.
half marathon, then full marathon.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely like passionate about it. So why not?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last person I want to mention, I think she's worth mentioning, is from our athletics side.
Okay.
She's a long jumper, or in Serbian we say skok u dalj.
Okay.
And she is Ivana Španović.
Hmm.
And she got quite famous in the last 10 years. She won numerous medals. And fun fact, she's from Zrenjanin.
Ah.
Yeah.
Such a coincidence.
And fun fact, she was my neighbor.
Ah, you knew her.
Fun fact, she was my friend.
Okay, you need to mention that.
Yeah, exactly. So she was my neighbor. We used to hang out when we were younger. And then at a certain point, I remember she moved from that house and she went somewhere else. And I think she eventually left. Well, I didn't really follow but I think she first went to some other lived somewhere else in Zrenjanin, but then she moved somewhere else. And I'm really, really happy that her parents recognized the potential she had, because I remember I was so frustrated when she would like joke with us and like tease us or tag us, and then she would go run, and I wouldn't be able even to catch her at all.
Yes.
And I'm like, she can do whatever, just like like touch you and then just leave, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so fucking fast. But I wasn't aware of how fast she was. And I think she definitely found herself, and she's now representing, I think, Nike. And she's quite
Very
successful.
Nice. Yeah, good
That's
to know
an example of a person who actually found their strength and talent and went for it.
That's admiring. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course, we cannot cover everything, but I hope you enjoy this.
Yes.
And then next time, we're probably going to talk about smoking in Serbia, right?
Something kind of cultural at the same time bothering to me. So we need to talk about this.
Interesting facts, yeah. So this is a podcast for you to learn a bit of the language, but also a bit of the culture, because if you learn a language, you cannot get away without learning something about the culture. They always go together.
That's true.
So
definitely.
I hope you loved it.
All right. Vidimo se.
Vidimo se. Pozdrav.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our podcast and learned something new.
In case you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, make sure to share them on our Instagram page, Može Kafa Podcast. Prijetno!